Okay, next question.
All right, my question is why are these banks engaging in these risky lending practices? I've read or heard from y'all that it could be from the fact that they don't have responsibility, or that they just want more money, or I've also heard that it's because of legislation like the Community Reinvestment Act. I was just wondering what y'all thought of.
The Community Reinvestment Act has very little to do with this. The banks that are in difficulty are not banks that are subject to community reinvestment. Smaller banks that have an identifiable community are much more likely to have to do that with compliance. I think the reason that banks enter into these is because of the initial move was, as interest rates fell, then we lose sort of the ability to distinguish between high risk and low risk. The gap between high risk and low risk gets too close. And so it becomes easy to make a high risk loan because you do make 1.5% or 2% more, and it's not real clear how high that risk is. Then once they start being repackaged into these mortgage-based securities, and the risk becomes diluted with subprime and prime loans in the same package, then it becomes very difficult to assess that risk. And if you notice, one of the very first things that happened in this crisis was Moody's and Standard & Poor's, the risk rating agencies, got in trouble. Long before we knew anything else that was happening, we recognized that they had failed to figure out how to assess this risk. But then we get a huge demand because these are, at that time, classified as AAA rated securities. So they look wonderful. You put them on your balance sheet, they look great until they start defaulting. And it doesn't take very many defaults to make them bad, because they are in there. So they're hugely profitable. When Dr. Davis put up the slide or talked about the rates of return on these for these firms, a significant contributing agent for those rates of return is their return that they got on these mortgage-based securities. So you're getting a high return on it. They're easy to do. Let's go out and make some more loans. Let's repackage them. Let's trade them. Let's trade them up. And next thing you know, $37 billion becomes $700 billion. And I mean, it was just really high rates of return in a market that looked like it was going to keep going. And so I would suggest some combination of bad management and greed, probably.